There we go. It's like something I can't do it. I can do it. I'm James Lott Jr. Hi. Go ahead, Frank. You say, I'm like, you fucking think you take it. What's going on?
Look at me.
I don't know what's going on here. They try to stop us. Yeah, thank you, lady. Go ahead, Frank.
Yes. Look at us. Hey, everybody, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of all ages, hop in your hyperspace rings and journey with us as we break down episodes 3 and 4 of Ahsoka right here on JLJ Media. Hey, everybody. It's the Ahsoka Aftershow, brought to you as always by the benevolent James Lott Jr. and co-starring the super hunky, always delightful John Dunphy. How are you, buddy?
Doing okay. How are you? Glad to be here.
So gentlemanly.
Yeah, glad to be here. I'm very excited to be talking about the last 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Can't wait.
Fantastic. Yes, folks, we took due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to take last week off. So we'll be covering episodes 3 and 4 this evening for your listening/viewing pleasure. As always, folks, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, social media, Twitter, Instagram, all those great things. And you know what? The super chat is enabled right here. So if you want to share some love, please feel kindly to do so. That'd be great. Now, James Lott Jr., you've been unfortunately dealing with illnesses and all that kind of stuff as well. So you have not had a chance to really sink your teeth in, share your thoughts, I should say, with your rabid fans that come to this Star Wars show to hear your special takes. So overall, James, how are you enjoying the series so far?
They are rabid. They all need shots. They do. They all need shots. My fan, the lobby, they all need shots. Yes. So far, 4 episodes. I came on at the end of the last one because my voice was crazy. And I kind of told a little bit there, but now I ended up watching all 4 again. I did, and again, I had issues with internet. So, with the power was going out in my neighborhood. I was like, what is going on here? Like, I want to talk Star Wars, cheese and crackers. But I watched all 4 again today, just back to back, just to kind of do it as a whole thing. It felt like I just watched the whole season in 4 episodes. The way they set it up was kind of like, was that the season end cliffhanger on episode 4? It felt very end of the season cliffhangery. And I'm like, I know we have more episodes to go, so I guess this is just, but it felt like a segment. If that makes any sense. It felt like these 4 episodes were the first segment, like the first third. How many episodes we get? 12, whatever.
I'm getting 8, I think, at this one.
Only 8?
Well, yeah, and I do agree with you. This felt like a part 1. Where I feel like the rest it's going to be part 2. Yeah,
that's what it felt like. I was like, and so watching the 4 together. Oh, Frank's gone. We drove him out. He's like, that's it. I can't take it anymore. No, it really did feel like a segment.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, and things seem to happen faster in episodes 3 and 4 than I thought we would be at. I just didn't. I didn't know we'd already be. Well, no, they were heading. Well, they were heading towards the place. I take 2. I like that we have a story. They're trying to find Ezra. Okay, we're trying to do all that stuff. There's other forces and things happening, of course, and they're by getting the map, the whole thing. Meanwhile, the bad guys, Baylor and all them, they're all trying to get the map so they get there too, whatever. So so that's a good setup. I didn't expect in episode 3 to already have these 2 big, in episode 4, these big fights already. And it was just kind of like, oh, okay, we are there already. Okay. So it just seemed sooner than I thought. But then watching all the way to the end of episode 4, I go, okay, well, maybe that's the point. It's like, this is the first part. And I guess the next 4 episodes are the second parts. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, the way that they left this, it's kind of like, it's interesting because, I mean, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but with the way we ended at episode 4 with like the world between worlds, like it seems like we might spend some time with like Anakin now, where like I which I'm excited for, but I'm also ready to like move on and like get to Thrawn and Ezra.
Right.
So
right. It was just like it was very much like, oh, here we go, okay. And seeing it, everybody saw it already. Spoiler alert, whatever. we see Anakin at the end. That's
Yeah.
how it fades to black. And I was like, wait. I was like, hi Hayden,
Yeah.
welcome back. And in episode 3, seeing Mon Mothma, seeing our girl.
Oh yeah.
Part of the council, seeing her. So I like that part. The worlds are being put together. That means that they are connected. They're all connected somehow, which we thought would possibly happen because Ahsoka is the same time period as Mandalorian. And I guess that Boba Fett and all, it's the same time period. So I was like, oh, great. So we actually see that. We saw Purgils. I thought of you.
Yes.
Like, how did you feel about that? You get to see them just in there. Oh, they're all over the place.
I loved it. I thought they looked amazing in live action here. Like finally getting to see them for real, like up close like that. And it was funny because I noticed that episode, right, episode 3, that was right, was shorter, and I was like, you could tell that a lot of their I was like, their budget for these Purgle must have been quite high, because the CGI for those things probably killed it. Because that episode I felt like was good and was action packed, but like I looked up and it was over, and I was like, wait a minute, that was already 30 minutes of that show.
And that's what I don't understand. This is my impression of Frank Moran, because I feel this right now. I get the excitement and the feeling of I can do whatever I want, and we can have episodes that are not exactly 22 minutes. Okay, I get that. Or exactly 52 minutes, or exactly 48 minutes. Well, I get the excitement of kind of that agency that you can do this, right? But I always wonder, and Frank has brought it up loud with the other shows, talk about kind of when it's so uneven like that, I wonder what the decision is made about that. Because I'm thinking, could there have been more stuff in that episode that was 30 minutes long? Could have been other things. We won't really know until the season ends what we're missing or not, I guess. But I'm feeling like we're going to miss something. I feel like we're going to say this conversation at the end of the season, going, "See, that's what happens when they do." Frank said that's how I felt the first 4 seasons. I just felt like that was just 4 episodes. I just feel like because the other one was longer. So it's like I'm like, why is one 30 minutes and the other one's 46 minutes, and why is one this minute? I mean, it's just so weird to me. I mean, I get how exciting that can be, but does that really serve the story? Thank you, everybody.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I agree, because I'm the one that always complains about all that.
Yeah, I thought of you when he said that, but I can agree with you.
I can only see the reasons maybe the first 2 episodes are a little longer is because of just the necessary kind of setting up of the plot. So it all kind of feels like, well, we have a lot of information and a lot of characters to set up, so we need longer running time. And then once we get the story up and running, we can cut back down to, anywhere in the 30-minute ballpark to tell these stories.
Yeah. Because I agree, because I feel like Dave Filoni has been a little brave with how this series is rolled out, because like Star Wars, like these TV series that are streaming on Disney Plus, like they've been pretty popular, even if they haven't all been like super critically acclaimed, like really well received. Like they've been pretty popular and people are curious about them. So that there's going to be a ton of people coming into this series that have no idea who Ahsoka is outside of a few episodes in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. So like I totally get why like that first episode was like 52 minutes or something, because you're taking this brave step of sort of just like introducing this whole new branch of Star Wars to people that have never seen Clone Wars or Rebels. So like you at the very least, the minimum, you have to like have a little extra setup to introduce who everybody is and try to like connect them to everything else, I guess. But I don't know. I still want that longer length.
Well, I always want longer length, John. Here's the thing. But no, I'm sticking with my statement that I'll wait to the end of the season. I will hold on to my thoughts and see if it's served well, because I feel like we had other seasons, other shows, it didn't serve it well. Like, it's like either you could have told the story all in one thing or even out. So I'm very curious. I'm just like, it just felt very short to me, the episode 3. It just felt very short to me. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was reading something too, and I could kind of see this point of view, which, John, I'll ask you. Oh, and James, as a fan of the expanded universe of Star Wars stuff that it had been kind of swept under the rug, or kind of put on the shelf when Lucasfilm went over to Disney, is how do you feel about like Thrawn coming back? awesome idea for sure. But the fact that we see like Mon Mothma, not really her so much, but the other people in the Senate are like, whatever, who cares? This isn't real. Why are you chasing stuff? Just trying to skim some stuff off the top for your own reasons. So it seems like nobody really cares about it. So it feels like, is it kind of like just all the expanded universe ideas where it's like, it's not really part of the Skywalker saga, so it doesn't really matter. So nobody's really caring about that. And it almost feels like it's like, it kind of reduces the importance of it within the Star Wars mythos, as opposed to like, hey, this is something that Leia would be involved in. This would be something that Luke or Han might be involved in with as well too, even though, it just seems like it cries out for those kind of interconnections to kind of create a more important feeling of this is really important to the Star Wars saga as a whole, not necessarily just the Skywalker saga, if that makes sense, John.
Yeah, like I always get frustrated when we see some of these New Republic officials that are like, these are the heroes. People like Hera are the heroes that just won this big war for you. And if you want to even take like a real life example, like the American Revolution, right? Like all of the people that were like the generals and the colonels fighting in the military, they're the ones that formed the government later on. You know what I mean? Where here it's like you have the heroes that won in Star Wars this galactic war, and they're like, the Senate's like looking down their nose at them, like, what do you know? It's like, what do you mean? What do I know? It's like, it's like, I'm the one that just lived through this, and I'm the one that's the part of the reason that the New Republic is even here. And you have all these senators just kind of dismissing everything, like, oh, that's not a threat. That's not a threat. Don't worry about that. Just focus on this instead. It's like, I wish there were more heroes in the ranks of like the New Republic Senate, because they all look like a bunch of morons, other than Mon Mothma, really. But. Yeah. I thought that Senator Ziono, I thought was interesting in episode 3, because he's actually the father of the like main character of Star Wars Resistance, which is like the only animated show we've gotten that's kind of like around the time of the sequel trilogy. So that guy who's like the jerk of that scene when Hera is trying to confront them is the father of like this one of the main guys in the Resistance that's fighting back against the First Order during Star Wars Resistance.
I haven't watched that one. My friend Christopher Sean's in it. I haven't watched that one.
Now I want scenes in there where they're just like, see, if you would have been such a jerk back then to Hera, we wouldn't be in this mess. Go, Senator.
I don't know. I think Frank, you bring up some good points. I think because I read the Thrawn books, and I'm a big fan of the whole thing. And you and I both talked about how we wanted somehow. I'm glad they're bringing it into the canon of this, actually. But to answer your question, I think depends on the writing. For me, if they write a good story, I'll accept anything. That's just how it is. Just period. I will. If you give me a good story, it makes sense and has the integrity of the character. And I said I'm using the word integrity, of course, meaning writing, not the integrity of the character. If you write it correctly, you make me care about it and care about the people he's interacting with now, it'll work for me. For me, I can accept it. If in some cases, the only time that it made me upset was, I said, in that trilogy, we never had a scene on screen together with the original 3 people. That's the only time that really bugged the crap out of me. There was no Leia, Luke, and Han Solo together in the same room. We didn't get that at all. I thought that was a waste of. And now Carrie's gone in real life. That was the only time I thought. Fuck. But other than that, no. If they tell a good story, they tell it well, and I end up caring about it, I can be fine. To answer your question.
But it's also, for me, like the difference between animation and live action. Because if this were another animated project, say Dave Filoni was working on this awesome series that was set after Return of the Jedi and before Force Awakens, and he was telling this really cool epic story, you could easily have Han, Leia, Luke, Chewbacca, anybody, Lando, all those folks as part of that series as well too. Not necessarily don't have to be the main stars, but they could definitely be reoccurring, especially for big important things like Thrawn coming back. Because everybody knows Thrawn knows. Yes, from Rebels, but I think originally from the Timothy Zahn novels, when that's where he fought against Luke, Leia, Han, and all those folks. So you'd want to see those characters mixing it up with him. And I feel like it's easy to do in an animated series because, you could have different voice actors. They did it on Clone Wars, very easy to do. But live action, I think it makes it tough. It's just because, you could do what they did with Luke and do some of the motion capture and de-age him that way. But could you do that with Han and Leia? I mean, probably not. I don't know. People seem to be dicey about all that stuff anyway, especially with Carrie being dead. How would they feel about her being used? And that, I know that would open up a whole can of worms. So it's weird. Recasting. They tried that with the Solo film, and it didn't go over very well. So I feel like it kind of puts handcuffs on how epic a story like this could be. And I don't feel like I need every story about Star Wars to center or to have Luke and Leia and Han involved. I've enjoyed Mandalorian. I've enjoyed a couple episodes of Book of Boba Fett. But for a story of Thrawn coming back, seems to be that epic enough that you would want to see these other characters be part of that story. And I just don't think would ever get. The fact that we aren't in live action, I think, diminishes it.
I get what you're saying. I disagree with you on some level, but I do get what you're saying. I think, again, with good writing or whatever, just show it's a character. He didn't only interact with them on some level. You can almost expand your mind and say you interact with other people at the same time. I think it can be, if it's done. I think if it's done well, I think it can. I think his effectiveness of being epic can also happen also. But I think it really depends on the writing. It really depends on the writing. And partially the acting too. Depends on the acting. If the actor is good, when it comes to animation, that's another story, right? I mean, there's a lot. I read the Lando Luke books. I wish they would have those stories go. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things I wish they could do, and animation obviously would be the best bet for that. But for live action, I'm going to wait and see how this unfolds. If they get in the season, I'd be like, oh my God, Frank was right. I mean, I may be right. I mean, I'll say I'm wrong. But for me, I'm waiting for good writing. I mean, if they give me a good story, then I'm fine with seeing him interact with other people.
It's John, your thoughts?
Mommy and Daddy are fighting.
It's interesting. Because it does. I wish in like an alternative timeline, like a lot of these series had come out and been done, and then the sequel trilogy we were gonna, that we got was this instead of what we got.
Yes.
That's what I wish. And then if you're doing all that, much earlier on, maybe you can have Luke, Han, and Leia all appear in it. But I just.
Wait 1 second. Do we all three agree that the last trilogy sucked? We all agree that?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, there are things
on,
in
John.
it that I can say.
No,
I'll just say that there are things in it that I enjoy.
I just want to see if we all agreed on something, but apparently me and Frank agree on one thing. But that's fine.
But I do.
What's your original thought?
But I do agree that it sucks. It does.
Go back to your original thoughts.
No, but it would be really cool. It would be really cool if, instead of what we got from Luke in the trilogy that we got, the sequel trilogy, if it was Ahsoka, now that we've seen Ahsoka interact with Luke in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, if it was Luke, Thrawn's back, we got to go get him, that would be awesome if that's the story we were getting. That was part of it now. But I do agree with James also that I still think this could be really fantastic even without them appearing. But I do think about what things could have been if it had been done correctly.
Like I said, though, Frank makes a good point. So I mean, I'd love to see all that too. I mean, like I said, I read the books. I mean, I have the trilogy sitting right across from me and staring at it. And I would love that. But I think sometimes you can move them around. This universe is vast and wide, and it wasn't before. Remember, it was such a just a movie every 3 or 4 years. That's it. But now we got TV. My mind is open to this vast universe.
Yeah. I'm all down for all these different characters and all these different stories, but I also feel like to the common person, the only thing Star Wars that matters to them is the films.
That's true. I agree with you that.
And the TV stuff is just kind of like whatever. Okay, who cares? Are Han, Luke, and Leia in there? No. Oh well, whatever.
You're right.
It's not part of the big story. Whatever. I don't care.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That I agree with you on. I can agree with that. Yeah, that's true.
So who knows if there's anything that really can be done to fix that? I don't think so. But
I don't think so either. I mean, it's like soap operas, Frank. We work in the world of soap operas. I don't know anybody who's tuning in for the first time in General Hospital. I mean, they're just not. It's whether that core wrestling, same thing. There's nobody tuning into wrestling that's new. Or not bringing back older viewers either. It's whoever's watching it is watching it. I don't think anybody new. I feel like this is the same thing. I feel like the only people who are watching the new stuff is probably the Marvel people. They probably got new people maybe in there. I don't know. I just like Star Wars. You're right. It's very, very finite. There's no, like I said, it's not the big three with some Darth Vader thrown in. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, I feel like with Grogu, he was a nice little pop culture moment that even people who weren't Star Wars fans of the films were still like, oh, hey, I'll check this out, and kind of got sucked into the TV side of it all more so than the films. And they're like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'll watch all this stuff, and they don't really care about the Luke, Leia, and Han of it. So I could definitely see another fan base that is just growing up more TV centric than film centric for Star Wars, and that's the stuff that they really care about. Unless so, I don't care about the Force and the Jedi's and whatever they're doing. I just care about Grogu and Mando and all these kind of cool.
I would interrupt you there because I'm curious with the Grogu phenomenon, how people actually watched the show, who got into it. I wonder if folks just bought the Grogu because it was cute and they know it's from some show on called The Mandalorian. I would love to know the numbers on that. I'm curious, like those of us watched Mandalorian, we were already watching it. It took me a long. I didn't watch Mandalorian when it first came out. The first season, I got it. I didn't watch till it ended. Then I watched the first season towards the end, and that's when Ryan and them started doing it at AfterBuzz. I said, okay, well then I'll do it with you guys. But I didn't jump on the bandwagon right away either. Then I liked it. I wasn't sure what it was, and then season 2, I was right on board. But I wonder, Frank, how many people actually just didn't get into the toy and guys start collecting that, and how many of them actually watched the series? I wonder.
Well, I do have those numbers, James.
Oh God, right? That's why I forgot he works there now. That's right. Go on, Frank. He's like, so July 2021.
Yeah.
July 2020. Yes.
It is 47. Just 47 people.
Frank, seriously, if you really did have some numbers,
47 people.
like James, let me look up right here. Okay, there you go. Yes. I'm like, Frank, he has the numbers. Wow. Like, I had no idea.
I brought my receipts, James.
That's right, you did. But that's the same thing. Of course, I always wonder how they count these shows hits or not on these streaming services. Like it's the 1/1 billionth of whatever. I don't get any of that anyway. But you brought up a good point. The Grogu, because that was something that was a phenomenon. It became this big phenomenon. But also he was related to Yoda. I think on some level, people just reminded them of Yoda on some level too. I wonder if anybody really did tune in because of him to see what it was about and actually get into the show. I just wonder. I don't know.
Well, I have some people here with me, James.
There's some Moran. Everybody looks like, oh my God, it's Bailey Pedro's right there. Hi, Pedro, what's going on?
Oh, Kathleen, come here.
Kathleen Kennedy, get over here, Kat. Come on, Miss Kennedy, get over here. Tell us all about it. That's funny.
So I will ask you both, you gentlemen, there as we're talking about these episodes. How are we still feeling about Ray Stevenson?
I love him. Oh my God, Balin. He's absolutely killing this. Like, he is so good that even just one word responses like send a shiver down my spine. He's like, he's like, God, like he's just so like commanding. He's such like an intimidating presence. I'm so sad that he's gone. I'm really sad that he is not able to see how much people love the character that he's portraying, like not able to like look at all this positive feedback that he's getting. And I love Balin so much, even though he's a bad guy, that like he's somebody that I would love to see even get one of these Tales of the Jedi little short animated things. That would be interesting based on some of the conversations he's had with Ahsoka. I love Balin and the way Ray Stevenson is portraying him. I can't say enough good things about him and the way he's playing the character.
I'm sad that he's gone also. I'm completely turned on by him. So up in heaven, Ray Stevenson, I'm turned on by you. I think you're a big bad daddy. Love the beard, love the cape, love the boots. I'm all in. And I agree with you, John. Very much so. It's like he's one of the bad guys, but again, between either it's the writing or his portrayal, they're showing us the sides of him. He always has the great little one-liners. They'll say something, he'll be like, Faith, I lost that a long time ago. Like, he likes little one-liners, but he says it with such like, he's seen things, he has been through things. Because that chick and other chick, she's like too much. And like, he's looking at like whatever. And I just feel like, but the whole thing with Sabine, that whole thing, and he decides to take her, take them, not kill her or anything, and you want to hold the map, and I was just showing it. There's like, he's like, I have my word. I promised I let her go. I just think he's so good. Anthony says he was my favorite Punisher. That's right. Thank you, Anthony. We love Anthony. Anthony did the She-Hulk show with us. Thank you very much. But yes, he's such a great actor anyway, just and stuff. But in this, he's hot, he's bad, he has emotions. I'm in.
I agree with both of you, gentlemen, surprisingly.
Yeah.
My one concern so far about this, and I don't know how the two of you feel, is I feel like this show is giving me more fights than I really want. When I want to see these character scenes. I want to see Ahsoka and Baylan talk. Not this stilted kind of conversation that they had as they're kind of circling one another, but like a real conversation about it. It started off intriguing and then just went to a lightsaber fight. And I thought it was like, man, that's not what I wanted out of this scene. I really wanted, that conversation was interesting. Somebody that knew Anakin, somebody that kind of realizes like, hey, what's the deal with Ahsoka? She bailed on him. Is she a lot like Anakin? Could she be a monster as well? Or, how does she feel about bailing on Anakin? I thought there was just more to explore about how Ahsoka felt, both how Baylan felt. I felt like Ahsoka was like, why wasn't she being more direct, asking why Baylan was trying to do all this? I would have liked to see more of that.
Well, Frank, you popped off by accident. I had said this. I said I felt like episode 4 was like a cliffhanger. It was like a season ending. It was like, because we didn't get like the big scene. It's just like they were fighting. She gets pushed off. That's it. I was like, okay, I didn't like that. I didn't care for that either. So I was like, what? They just moves on to Sabine, that whole thing with her. But I was kind of like, well, okay. It felt really weird. That episode to me just felt like it was here's a scene, cliffhanger. Here's a scene, kind of a cliffhanger. Here's a scene, and that was it. And then it's like then the Anakin shows up. It felt a little weird to me, that episode. So I agree with you. I thought there's an opportunity for some dialogue that didn't happen. So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah. John?
There was, while they were fighting, there was something that Baylan said to Ahsoka. He said, like, you, like your master, your legacy is that one of death and destruction. And that's something that I wanted to hear him, like, what does he mean by that? Like, what has Ahsoka done? Like, that's like anything like Vader. You know what I mean? And is it because she abandoned him that she was the one that allowed that all to happen? Like, these are the kind of things that I would like to dive in. Like you're saying, like, let's have a more fleshed out conversation and like really get down to this. Like, what do you mean? Because Ahsoka clearly has not done anything like Darth Vader did. You know what I mean? Like, her old master. So like, what do you mean by that? I want to get more into that. And honestly, we were talking about the length of episode 3, how short it was. Like, that was one of the things that I really thought was missing, was more dialogue from Baylan, because like the way that episode ended was him standing there on the cliff telling the droids or those guards or whatever to go find Ahsoka and Sabine, right. And the episode just cut. And I was like, I would have loved if he went up into this big hyperspace ring, this ship or whatever they have, and him and Morgan Elsbeth had a conversation, and that's the way it ended after that. It was something like that. But I do agree. I feel like we're on like the cusp of so many good like conversations and little bits of information, and we're not really like getting fully in there. Maybe we'll get one of those now that Sabine is stuck, with them. But I don't know.
Well, there were some jokes that were had that I can't repeat on here that made me laugh about the Nuva ring. I mean, the ring in the sky, because the female-led show. You catch my drift. I laughed. There's so many different jokes. I can't repeat even half of them on here that made me laugh so hard. We can just go online, you can find them. They're like, is that big Nuva ring up there just like this going through the ring? It was kind of crazy. But there's, again, both episodes ended quickly and they just chopped off. The same thing when they said, Master, and all of a sudden there's Anakin. They show his face, and then it cuts off. You're like, what's going on? It felt. I know what they were trying to. I feel like I know what they were trying to accomplish, but I just feel like it was just like, here's a plot point going over here. Here's a plot point going over here. There's a plot point over here. And I'm like, well, we have like 4 more episodes left, so I guess now we're gonna go to another chapter. That's what I was kind of saying. I feel like these first 4 episodes were a chapter, I guess. So maybe the big talk will happen later, Frank. I don't know. Maybe that's because things happen. I didn't think it was going to happen so soon. All the fights, like you're saying, I'm like, yeah, all these fights all of a sudden, everything's just happening so fast. I'm like, okay, I didn't expect that. I expect them to cook up right away and then them to meet up right away. Like, it was just all like, it seemed rushed a little bit to me. And Frank and I have talked about on all these shows, and including General Hospital, pacing. Pacing is everything. And it goes back to, and if you have an episode that's 30 minutes, then make sure that 30 minutes really did work for the series. That's not, or if you're gonna go 48 minutes, make sure that episode is good, it's good for the series. We don't want fluff either. So that's and Province says, will the Sith apprentice have issues with Sabine?
Who knows? I feel like Shin hasn't really been developed too much either. I mean, she's just got that bug-eyed look to her, which is basically her one look.
Does she look like she's CGI'd or something? Like, something looks weird to me about her.
She's always just, her eyes are always just wide.
Yeah.
Plus, certainly a moment where the fan base may have just jumped further ahead, but with when you've got Marek, Marek, however you pronounce his name, he's got the helmet on. He really doesn't speak that much. Who could he be? Could it be Ezra brainwashed underneath there? But then we just see him sliced, across the chest and blow out a big puff of gas. Yeah. And that was him. That was it.
That's it.
So
yeah, I was wondering because people were saying it looked like kind of like a dark green sort of smokish thing that came out, and the Night Sisters, something that we've seen the Night Sisters do, and Morgan Elsbeth apparently is a descendant of a Night Sister, is they have the ability to like resurrect people, bring them back to life and things like that. And I wonder if like this could be something like Morgan Elsbeth resurrected an old Inquisitor, and it's just some random Inquisitor that they've been using or something. Because even what was it, the Clone Wars with Darth Maul's brother Savage Opress, like when he got killed, that's what happened. All the green smoke. He didn't just like lay there and his dead body was there. He like withered away in this puff of green smoke after what the Night Sisters did to him. So I don't know if it's something similar to that.
I think sometimes we think too much. I think it was just a character they put in there, gave him a helmet. It's like, here you go. I think sometimes we think it's all this stuff, and it probably isn't.
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it probably. Maybe it could be. Maybe there's be some behind the scenes, and they'll tell us. But I think sometimes it's like there's things they put in these things that are visual. These moments are just visual moments that I don't know if they mean anything really. Like if they really mean anything. I don't know.
It is now having the opportunity to work on a show that has a pop culture footprint.
Yeah.
It is to be on the other side of those conversations, to say like, oh yeah, we should do this as an Easter egg, or things that, I'm sure there are many things that we're doing that are intended to be Easter eggs and visual callbacks to both comics and the original series.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's going to be plenty of things that people will see that and will take meaning from and put import on that have nothing, that we were like, no, it's not anything that we even thought about. So I will be interested to see the kind of stuff that develops from there.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh no, this is the theory that's going on. I'm like, I can tell you that was absolutely nothing that was ever thought of.
That's like, well, I know from the world of soap opera, people put these things. I'm like, that was their thought. That sounds great, but that was not their thought at all. They just do it together, and that was it. So that's funny, Frank. That's we do that. And Prophet brings up something that I agree with also. Kind of weird having Hera bring her son on the mission.
I mean, where else?
Yeah, she couldn't get a babysitter that day.
I'm like, but again, it's the kid thing. I'm like, why does Star Wars always have to add a kid element? Sometimes like Leia in it worked for me. I was very involved. I liked the actress. I was involved. But in some other things, just like, really, we have to have a kid because I mean, something's going to happen with the kid. Obviously, I mean, it has to.
But for you, did Leia as a kid was more acceptable to you because it was Leia, a character you knew as an adult.
You're right. It was.
And like, oh, this is her as a kid. I can see where she started from. This is intriguing. But Jason, for somebody that's like, I haven't watched Rebels. I have zero connection to this kid. You're right. I'm just like, what do I care? I'm getting a bad feeling. All right.
I was like, who cares? Nobody asked.
I was wondering if we were going to see Jason Syndulla here. So like it was funny to see because it did make me wonder too, like could Jason Syndulla be one of the first Padawans at Luke's new Jedi temple, his new Jedi order or something at somewhere down the line or something, or could Ahsoka start to train him or something? It's cool to me to see Kanan, Hera and Kanan's only son still around hanging out
for a scene, and then you watch business.
Speaking
yes, kids have to be in these. It's Disney, okay, right?
I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I feel like Jason, because he was name checked in Rebels, I assume at the end.
He was.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense that he would be here. Not that I want to see the kid, but that he would be here.
Put him somewhere else. But geez,
it should be seeing her, not seeing her.
Yeah.
But speaking of Ahsoka as a master training an apprentice, what are the two of your thoughts on the relationship between Ahsoka and Sabine? I will just say that I'm confused about why it's happening, and I've yet to see anything on the show so far that has made me think like this is something that they should continue to do because it's really interesting.
What do you mean why it's happening? You mean like why are they together or like?
No,
I feel like
why they're together because of the connection from Rebels, but in terms of we've already started off with a failed training attempt between Ahsoka and Sabine that we never saw, but we've only heard talked about. That did not go well, and so far we keep hitting the nail on the head about like, oh, she is terrible. She would never have gotten accepted into the academy. She's awful. She stinks as a Jedi, and Ahsoka is really doing nothing great as a teacher either, and she's already showed such reluctance to even be a teacher, even though they're coming back together and trying it one more time. I mean, I guess for you, John, are you enjoying this relationship between the two of them, like the master apprentice? Because I feel like it's just like, why is it so important that it's being trained to be a Jedi?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I have a few different thoughts, I guess. Like, I don't feel like they necessarily have to. I did not expect there to be an element to this where Sabine would be getting trained by Ahsoka, like specifically to be a Jedi. But I mean, like, obviously they had a connection from Rebels. You do see them at the end go off together because they're still hoping that they can find, Ezra and stuff. So I guess this training was born out of that they started this training. I believe we got like a little tidbit of what might have happened between them two in this episode, because Baylan actually said to Sabine about how, your master didn't trust you and your family died as a result, which I actually think connects also to Mandalorian, because we saw that whole Night of 1,000 Tears that Moff Gideon set off that destroyed Mandalore. And I'm assuming that Sabine is probably pissed that, Ahsoka wasn't listening to her. And then as a result, her family, was destroyed, and that kind of crumbled their relationship and like destroyed anything that they'd worked on in the training that they had gotten. So like, I'm hoping that we're getting more answers about that in the future. We'll get a little bit more of that story. Did you guys notice that it looked like Sabine actually used the Force in episode 4, though? Did you notice this when she was fighting Shin? Before she used the gauntlet to shoot that little missile off, she threw her hand up out at Shin, and you could hear that Force rumble, and it was kind of a Force slap. All Shin did was kind of like turn her head like that, and then she turned back and yelled, "You have no power," or whatever, and then Sabine shot her. But like, so I'm assuming that at some point Ahsoka saw some Force ability within her. It's just very muted, and she's been trying to pull it out of her, because at the end of the day too, Sabine is from Clan Ren, which are descendants of the Vizslas, and Tar Vizsla was the very first Mandalorian Jedi. So she does have that in her bloodline. So like it is interesting to me to see Ahsoka training Sabine, but I do agree that the way that their relationship has been portrayed like so far in the series, I haven't like loved every moment of it, but I'm just hoping that we'll continue to break it down and maybe get somewhere. We only have 4 episodes left in the season, so I would hope it happens soon.
I don't know, because I feel like with Ahsoka, and I've not seen her appearances in Rebels, so I can't track how her character may have changed from Clone Wars to where she is now in her own series. But she certainly seemed more talkative, more willing to, talk about her feelings and how she was thinking about stuff in Clone Wars. And now the way it's being portrayed is she is just very kind of closed off. And it makes these scenes like where it's just a lot of her just staring off somewhere. And there's not really a lot of dialogue coming out. And I don't know, I find myself not really getting into the zen of Ahsoka. I want to hear stuff. I want to hear her, how she's feeling, thinking, and not just staring off for long periods of time.
I'm wondering if what we get next, like because of the way episode 4 ended with Anakin showing up behind Ahsoka there, like if they're able to communicate and Ahsoka's able to get any closure from that, depending on how we move into episode 5, maybe her attitude changes once she does get reunited with Sabine. Maybe there's a spark there that changes the way their relationship gets portrayed for the remainder of the season and the series. Maybe it's going to take a conversation with Anakin, her old master, to do that. But I don't know what version of Anakin we're getting here based on the music at the end of episode 4. So, the Vader theme.
Yeah, I know. That was crazy too, right? I was like,
James, did you get excited about seeing your boy?
There's a little twinge. I did. I have to admit.
Twinge.
A little twinge. I can't help it. That's my man. I mean, that's one of my dual man. I dig. It was like, okay, we knew, like we said, we heard he was going to show up. Obviously, I heard he was going to show up. Again, I know that's one thing that's going to be this soon. Again, I felt like they're just so soon. We've only been 4 episodes in. And so, but I did get my heart just gonna beat a bit when I saw him. It was interesting.
What are the two of you thinking in terms of who this Anakin is? Is it for real, like a Force ghost from after Return of the Jedi? Is it just somebody that's messing with Ahsoka's head and it's not really Anakin at all?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no clue. I mean, I literally have no. I mean, because you're right, you can go 10,000 different directions. I mean, there's like, I don't know. I seriously don't know. I don't
know either.
No, I don't know.
It's this world between worlds. This whole realm is so like it's very cool. Like we saw it in Rebels. It looks cool. I thought it looks cool. They made it look amazing in live action.
They did.
But like there were different scenarios there. Like so Ezra at one point was in the world between worlds and helped save Ahsoka, which was great. But then there was also a point where Ezra kind of got transferred back into this world between worlds and thought he was getting a chance to see his parents again. And it was actually Palpatine messing with him the whole time. So could this, and there's this whole dimension of the world between worlds is supposed to be separate from like time and space. It's like this weird, its own thing. Could this be that? And of course, I'm going wild again with speculation, but could this be like, I always do, but could this be like Vader has somehow found a way to access the world between worlds and is now manipulating Ahsoka in this realm? And he's just portraying himself as the version of himself when he was her master. Like, I don't know. I feel like, who knows what the hell is going to happen now?
Right. I no clue, Frank. No.
But I do like the idea where whether it's legitimately Anakin or fake, or it's the real Anakin from after Return of the Jedi, that their interaction gives some sense of closure to Ahsoka to allow her to kind of put away any kind of feelings of failure towards Anakin that she may have. And maybe get a little bit more cheery would be nice.
Yeah, I know. I think I agree with you that it feels like she has very little lines in her own series. I'm like Boba Fett episode 5 or whatever it was. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm like, everyone's talking, but not her. So I don't know I want more conversation. Going back to your other question, I wanted more conversation really between her and Sabine. I mean, like it was played for comedy a little bit. It was like, it's like, oh, she's really bad. Oh my God, I'm really bad. It's just kind of it was just kind of like it didn't seem serious to me. It didn't seem as serious as it could be. So but I agree. And my sister says the relationship seems forced. I don't know if that's meant to be. It's supposed to feel forced. Is it supposed to be? I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm agreeing with you. I don't. And it's because it's only 8 episodes this season. I don't know how they're going to flesh that out to where we feel like, yes, because she says in episode 4, can I trust you, or can I believe in you, or whatever, or whatever. It's like, but I'm not even that invested though yet. So I don't even care if you answer yes or no. I'm not even that invested yet. I mean, I'm more invested in Sabine and her desire to find Ezra and what it's leading her to do. There was more emotion in that episode 4, and more with her and Baylan knowing what her desire is and all this stuff. And even in other episodes of her, her desire to find him, I'm actually more rooting for her to find him than I am. I don't even know what Ahsoka's purpose is at this point on some level. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess she did say that like her big thing is just preventing another war, and it seems like she's taken, like, as opposed to Sabine, who, like you said, you really feel the emotion more. Like Ahsoka has just taken all the emotion out of everything, which I don't know if that's like a defensive response to everything she's been through in her life. It's just like, I need to totally detach. So this is why I'm like this now. And sure, Ezra finding him would be great. Yeah, that would be awesome. But I really just don't want the whole galaxy to have a war again. Like, that seems to be like, she's not looking at all at the personal aspect of it anymore. It's more like, outward, like, I just have to do, whatever I have to do, like, even if it makes me happy or not. Like,
right.
Yeah, because even like Huyang, his big thing as they take off to go find, the pathway, that he was just stick together, because it's always better when you two are together. And we clearly, that only lasts for a quick run through the forest, and then they split off, and then that's it. We don't see them. So, I mean, I guess it depends. Do you think, it's not going to go well because they aren't together, or are they going to find, Sabine going to find Ezra, and Ahsoka's going to find some sense of closure that they may not have been able to if they had stayed together?
I have no idea. It's aggressive.
I actually think that Ahsoka is going to find a way to get there using the world between worlds, because you can access different points in the galaxy from there. So I think Sabine will be there. They'll be in trouble somehow. Ahsoka will find a way to get to this other galaxy that they're trying to get to. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
I don't know if that's right or not.
But we also get a special cameo from our favorite X-wing fighter pilot from The Mandalorian. Yes, he shows up there helping out Hera.
Yes, he does.
Yes. Now, John, were you bummed that we don't see Zeb as well?
I was bummed by this. They showed Carson, and then they started showing everybody else in their cockpits, and I thought the very last one was just going to be Zeb. And no. Maybe he should have been the kid's babysitter, Jason Sandula. Yeah. He's not doing anything.
He's free. But yeah, seeing Carson, I was like, oh my God, there he is. So he's back. I kind of smiled. I did smile. Kind of was like, oh, okay, that's cute.
Yeah, I mean, a nice tie-in with that. I mean, I guess people, I was reading online where people were like, well, how does this tie in with the timeline of The Mandalorian then? Well,
the same timeline, aren't they? Aren't they the same timeline, right?
I think.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. I think from what I read somewhere was that this is supposed to be around the time of the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. Yeah, it's like they're kind of around the same time.
Well, I'd heard. I heard they were saying they're same time, same universe, same time period. So
now, John, as somebody who's dialed into these Star Wars thoughts, think pieces online, the speculation that Sam Witwer could be popping up in this series.
Yeah, I know.
Are you intrigued by the prospect?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's done a bunch of voices and stuff for the Star Wars galaxy. There was a lot of speculation that he could be voicing Marok, because there was that theory out there that Marok was actually going to turn out to be Galen Marek, Starkiller, and that Sam Witwer was going to be voicing it or whatever. But I think it apparently it's just been his credit has come up as in like the additional voices that were used. So I don't know what he's been doing. I don't know like what hit character he might be portraying, but I don't know. That could be interesting for sure. Well, by the way, it's funny. One of these pilots was the actor that actually wears the Mandalorian armor in the Mandalorian, not Pedro Pascal, obviously, but because he mostly does the voice. But I forget which one, but one of the pilots is the guy that actually wears the Mandalorian armor in the show.
Did he survive?
I think he did. Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness, because
It totally went down. But I know it was a mess. It was a mess. Yes.
It was. Yeah. I'm digging Yang though, because I did enjoy the training sequence with him and Sabine, with where he does like those hollow lightsabers, which I thought was kind of cool. And then also he's got a great fight scene with one of the assassin droids in episode 4. And I thought like, hey, all right, look at him go. He's holding up for a guy that's a couple thousand years old.
He's great. Yeah.
He's fine. I mean, I said it was played for comedy, kind of the first. I mean, like, I'm not like super in love with him either. I'm like, he's okay. I don't know.
James, droid hater.
I did love when when he got shut down. He starts screaming, "Help! Help! Help!" And the HK droid is covering his mouth. And then you have Ahsoka and Sabine run out, and Hu Yang's been shut down. And when he comes back up, he's like, "Well, that's going to set me back."
That's it. I was just saying, it's played for comedy. Like when he was like, before, he's like, no. He's like, thank you. He's like, I'm like, it's played for comedy on some level. Yeah. So I mean, he's fine. I mean, I have nothing for or against him. I'm not excited. He's no C-3PO.
I mean, few are. While it was an enjoyable episode, I did think the episode 3 where Hu Yang needs them to keep flying towards the hyperspace ring because he still needs to do a scan. I'm like, that thing is huge. Are you telling me that it took you that long to get that scan? Like, I don't know if you need a scan to figure out like, hey, that big hyperspace ring can't be any good whatsoever. But no, I'll keep scanning it. Like, because what did they learn out of that scan that they couldn't have probably guessed or deduced just by looking at it?
Yeah, because I think at one point they were flying in, and he was like, "Oh, it appears to be a hyperspace ring, but I don't know for sure, so I keep flying towards it." And I guess by going towards it, maybe you're getting just more specific details and information about exactly what it is. But like when he got shut down in that moment, but when the ship got like knocked out, and then he came up, he goes, "Yes, it is a giant hyperspace ring." It's like, that's what you said before we've been getting shot at for the last 5 minutes. That's exactly what you said.
Anything new to add? No, Yang? Great.
So it's not just a hyperspace ring. It's a massive hyperspace ring. Got it.
All right. Got it. That's good. Thanks again. So overall, it seems like James hates the series, and John loves it.
Wow.
And I'm just somewhere here in the middle.
No, you're absolutely completely wrong. As usual. No, I like the series. I feel like the first episode was really, really good. I was totally into it. Like a lot of them are. Usually the first episodes are really good. I think the second episode was good. I just think 3 and 4 had issues that makes me nervous. This makes me nervous. So we have like 4 episodes left. So I was kind of curious. It's a short series. So I was curious, will they fulfill certain promises? Ahsoka is it was a big name. It's the first female-led, driven-led series. I did expect a lot. I do, in terms of all the other series, Andor is probably number 1, of course. Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 I really liked. And I would say, but this is probably my 3rd that I liked out of all the series. I do like it. But I'm getting nervous because there's just, like you said, there's some deficiencies, obviously. For the lead character, especially, because she's the lead character. And I just feel like I need to see more of her showing us how cool Ahsoka really is. Like, she's a main character in the canon of the Star Wars stuff. And you guys have both mentioned things that we're not seeing it. So I'm just kind of curious. I'm just hoping maybe I'm reserving judgment, but no, I like the series. I mean, it's one of my top 3 of the Star Wars series.
I mean, because I would ask the both of you, other than Boba Fett, I mean, I think and I guess maybe the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, but I feel like Ahsoka is probably the one that maybe is like been the most like character that was created for Star Wars that is really connected with the fan base and is really very popular.
Very much. She had her own big book. I mean, hello, she was somebody. That's what I'm saying. I was expecting when they first were talking about this back, I think Mandalorian season 1, me and Ryan pulled out the giant fucking right there on air, the graphic novel of her, and it was like he was like peeing in his pants. He was so excited. Shout out to Ryan Nielsen, my ex-host. And
way to just throw him under the bus by talking about him peeing his pants.
His pants, yeah. That's cool. But he was so excited. And it was like, I'm saying he was, I mean, like this, I think there were a lot of fans who were really excited. They were thinking, oh, wow. Okay, giving her own stuff. Like I said, we've seen her in other things. She's connected to other people, important folks. So I think, no, seriously, I think this was like just as much as Obi-Wan Kenobi, just as much as Boba Fett. I think she is part of the canon. And she's part of somebody that we're all looking forward to seeing. And can she carry a series? And I guess everybody wants to know. And I'm just a little critical, but I do like it. I mean, it's enjoyable television. I mean, I'm watching it. It's going by fast. But I'm watching it and it's fine. I mean, it's just, it's not like I'm like dragging through it. It's fast paced. It's doing what I do, but I'm just like, is it giving us full nutrition?
I will say I would like to see what Luthen thinks of all the stuff that's happening in the Republic.
Oh my God, I know.
For the man that said, I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. And then he sees these knuckleheads, the way they're running this new Republic.
Oh my God.
You know, he would not be like, oh, I don't know if Thrawn's coming back. Who cares? What's the big deal? You know, he would not be like that.
He's somewhere right now just screaming like, you idiots, I gave my life for this.
The chat room likes the series. They're saying they like the series.
Yeah.
Diane Cap says this is a good series mostly because of the references to Rebels and connections to so many other characters. So I think there's so much, there's potential. There's so much potential. That's what it is. And all these series have potential. That's the whole thing. Every Star Wars is ripe and rich with characters. That's not even a problem. There's so many characters. We probably each of us can name 3 or 4 characters that we can do a series for. They haven't even mentioned. So it's ripe, but it's like when they choose one and say we're gonna make a series about it, then they release it, it's a mixed review. And I said the only one that shocked me was Andor. I was not excited, as you know, I was not excited. And it became my favorite series, the whole series.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I'm loving everything. Honestly, I do understand like complaints that people have had about the way Ahsoka has acted at times, but it hasn't really bothered me. And I do wonder if this will be a turning point for her now that she's gone into this world, between worlds. Like, I guess I can just like look back on some of the things that Ahsoka has. I mean, she's died like multiple times and come back, and like she's lost so many people, and I feel like she probably feels so responsible for so many things that happened in the galaxy that like I can't really fault her for maybe not being the same Ahsoka, like the same youthful Ahsoka that we're used to in the Clone Wars and things like that. So because this is a good portion removed from that time period now. And but I do agree. I want to see the old Ahsoka. I think we could maybe get it going forward. I also think it's crazy that like we're still not even done seeing stuff from the trailer yet. We're halfway through the series. We still never saw that scene of Thrawn walking into the ship, from the back. So, so I'm really curious to see where we go from here. I'm really excited.
No, and I would, it is interesting to see just the journey of Ahsoka's character. I mean, and that is the one thing about like a character that has been in the Star Wars universe for so long, that you get to see this character having developed through Clone Wars. I mean, where she was in the beginning of Clone Wars to where she was at the end of the series, there's a lot of character growth there. And then, from whatever that happened to her during her journey in Rebels to now, I mean, there is certainly, a lot of baggage that she would have to deal with, given who Anakin turned out to be. That could weigh heavy on a person.
And still getting reminded about it all these years later. We got people like Balin being like, "Oh, your legacy is the same as your master's." Everybody knows. No one really knows what he became, but I know. It's like, all right, shut up, man. I already know. I've been through this. Like, I know what happened. I was there.
Does she talk about in Rebels her feelings about what happened with Anakin and becoming Darth Vader?
It does come up, and she actually fights Vader in Rebels. Yeah. So I won't tell you how anything ends, but I'll just tell you that they do fight each other in that series.
Well, I assume she killed Darth Vader. That's what happened, right? I'm just guessing.
I was trying not to spoil it for you, Frank.
Frank.
Yes. Because it was a clone in A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. We didn't know that.
That's right.
Oh my God, that would be crazy. Yes, I'd burn all my shit in this house. That was like, just burn all my stuff.
What a great move by Dave Filoni to do that, though. At the end of Rebels, just kill off Darth Vader and say, "Well, he was so promising. I need to clone him." And Palpatine just pulls out this clone that he's made of Darth Vader. And just everybody went like, "Are you telling me that it was a clone that I saw in those three in the original trilogy? No way! You've killed my childhood."
I would lose it. Like killing my childhood. Yes, I would kill my childhood.
Wow,
I would lose it.
Oh my God!
I would lose it. I would totally lose it. I would lose it on air. I would lose it on air.
Now I want to see. I want that to happen.
Now you would happen. You would see it. Oh, I would rant. You think Frank can rant? I would rant more than Frank ever did in his whole entire life if that happened. Oh
man, you know what? It makes me want to start playing the lottery.
Exactly.
And then what my winnings will be just finding some way to get to Dave Filoni and have him leave you a voicemail message saying that, yes, that's canon. That Darth Vader.
First of all, I would die if Dave Filoni was on my phone. I mean, oh my God. Oh my God. First we're like, okay, Dave Filoni just called me. Oh my God, it's kind of crazy. But then I go off after that, yes. But first I'd be like, oh my God, it's Dave Filoni. Then I'll go into it, yes.
Yeah, and that's just that. That's the only thing he says. James, Darth Vader's a clone. I gotta go. See you later.
I literally, I would just be like, no, you're not a clone. You're not a clone. Not a clone. You're not a clone. You're not a clone. You're not a clone.
Just a bunch of Darth Vaders pointing at each other like the Spider-Man meme.
Which was a real Darth Vader. Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's fun. That's funny.
All right. Well, with only 4 episodes left, gentlemen, I will ask you right now as we wrap things up. What are the odds you think this series will stick the landing?
Well, I have a feeling. We're going to be getting more than one season. So I think that we're going to. We're gonna have to wait on a real conclusion, because I think we're gonna get a cliffhanger at the end of this. There's just not enough time to introduce Thrawn and really have anything crazy. I feel like maybe we see them in this other galaxy, and they're getting ready to come back, and that's how this season ends. Is just with Thrawn. They're actually they found him. He's back, and now we're coming to our galaxy, not this new galaxy that Thrawn's been stuck in, and that's how we'll end. So I don't know, but I think that will be well done. I do, but I think we're gonna have to wait a long time to see how the actual series finale lands.
James,
I'm scared. I need to be held.
On my way.
Come on over. I need somebody to hold me. I think I am. Right now, I'm 50-50 at the moment. I'm 50-50 because it could, like you said, it could. I was curious if it's a hit or not right now. I don't know. I mean, again, it's a streaming. You just don't know what's it's a. Is it a hit? Is it doing what Disney wants it to do? Is it what it wants to do? Is it performing? That's what I'm saying. Is it performing the way they want to perform? Because you have noticed there's 2 series that only went 1 season. That's it. There's only 2 series that didn't go any further, so I don't even know what happened with them. We have the writer's strike, of course, too, so we have no idea what's happening with that
Right,
either.
right.
But I can see it in chat the same thing. They said yesterday there'll be definitely a cliffhanger. I can see that, but landing to where I'd be okay, even with the cliffhanger, be okay. I'm 50-50 right now. I need to see the next couple of. I need to see the next like 2 episodes for sure, like 5 and 6. That'll tell me if I think it'll be the last 2 episodes will be good or not.
Okay.
I think. I need a little more because right now it's happening so fast and it's short. I don't know why I thought we had like 10 or 12 episodes, but I guess we don't. So I am very curious. I'm not sure, Frank. What do you think? What are you thinking?
It's tough because I just don't know what the timeline is for the Dave Filoni movie. Because I feel like the movie is supposed to be like the whole big kind of wrap up to everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is Ahsoka going to do a season 2 and Mandalorian going to do a season 4 and roll into the movie after that? Are they both going to skip those series and just roll into the movie out of their respective seasons? I don't know. So
Yeah.
You heard the rumor, Frank, that and well, John too, but Frank, that they were going to just do a Mandalorian movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see some. I feel like at some point the plan was to do a second season of this, another season of Mandalorian, and then have the movie come out. I don't know what, I don't know how long it would all take and everything, but I could see a lot of the plans now changing because of the strike. So I really don't know. Yeah.
The strike actually affects everything, and so it's like I don't know. All the timelines are just. Of anything that's not been filmed, it's all screwed. It's like whatever's been filmed, yes, they can do that timeline. But anything that's not been filmed, Frank, I don't have no. I don't. What are they? They can't even do pre-production. They can't even do anything. I don't think because the actors are on strike too.
Yeah.
They can't do.
I wonder, do you think they could almost like once everything is resolved, let's just say hypothetically, like, would you guys be happy with this if they had planned to do another season of Ahsoka, another season of Mandalorian, and then this big movie, but then they decided instead of 3 separate seasons, let's just do like an Ahsoka movie, a Mandalorian movie, almost like a trilogy of its own. You know what I mean? Where like whatever we would have gotten in the next Ahsoka season is now just one movie, 2.5 hours. Whatever we would have gotten in the Mandalorian season is now just 1 2.5 hour movie. And then the movie we were planning to wrap everything up as like it was going to be a standalone thing, but now it's almost part of a 3-part story. I don't know. Would you be cool with something like that?
I thought their whole plan was to mirror Marvel and DC and have series. I just thought that was their plan. I could be wrong. I don't work for them, so I don't know. But I just thought their plan was to mirror the two and actually start having. Because remember, there was no Star Wars series, besides animated stuff. But like, there's no live action series until Disney Plus. I thought that was their plan, was to have all these series to kind of go along. So I feel like the Mandalorian is the only one that went on 3 seasons. The others have all just did 1 season. Andor is doing a 2nd season, so you got that. Whenever that's going to start, obviously. But they were greenlit for a 2nd season. I'm saying, well, then why do all these movies? Even though, on the other hand, though, at the same time, like I don't mind a movie, a 2-hour movie or a 3-hour movie if it's going to be good and lead somewhere to the actual movies. I just thought. I know. I read that. I know they want to tie everything together at some point, but my point is like, well, you promised a season, you promised a series. I thought it was just series,
right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's also the thing, like, hey, I've been watching all these series, all these stories you've been creating on Disney Plus, and now you're saying that if I want to see how it all ends, I've got to go to the movie theater,
right?
Or wait, 3 or 4 months for it to come back to Disney Plus for me to see how it ends.
Because with Marvel, you don't have to go to the movie theater. Do you have to for these movies and from the series that are on there? Do you have to? Is it?
No, you don't have to.
it's
just like if you want a little bit more of a richer story, it's almost like reading those crossover issues in a big, in a big huge company crossover event. Like all the ancillary books are like, you might find some good stories, and you can also find some really duds. But you really just, as long as you're just focusing on the main story, you'll get what you need out of it.
Okay, that's what I thought. I don't know. I just that's a good question. I don't know. I don't mean the movies could be good. I mean they could be. Mandalorian season 2, I didn't care for season 3. So for me, it's like season 4. You can't give me a good season 4, then give me a good movie. If you're gonna do that, then I'll take a movie.
I feel like the bummer is, the world of early renewals for the Mandalorian seasons 2 and 3 and Andor season 2 came in a time before it feels like a lot of companies are realizing they don't know how to make a profit out of streaming yet.
Right. There's that.
And so doing lots of cutbacks.
Yeah.
So
there's that too. You're right. There's that too. You're right.
Do they, is it worth them investing in a season 2 of Ahsoka and season 4 of Mandalorian, or is it better for them just to do one movie? Or maybe a couple, like I like John's idea, but do it that way to kind of minimize the cost.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's that too. But it's a shame. And again, we don't know what they consider hits. I mean, I don't know what they consider a hit.
That's what the strike. We're trying to get that transparency, James.
Right. All right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I want to know what they consider a hit. What do they consider? Because network, you look at network, you look at cable, you look at basic cable, pay cable, buy subscriptions. I want to see what streaming. What does this mean? Was Boba Fett really a big hit? It is decided critically it wasn't. I mean, I guess are they making choices due to? I'm sure. I'm just saying that just for shits and giggles. But
There's no world where that book of
Boba I know. But I'm just saying. We suffered through it. No, I'm saying I wonder, from critical, to commercial success, like what are they judging? So
yeah, I'm sorry. The only show that I remember them mentioning like an actual number of like, oh, this many people have watched this, it's like a huge hit, was Obi-Wan, because I feel like people weren't like it wasn't getting the best reaction like online and stuff, and I feel like then they were like, oh well, this is some good news. This many millions of people watched the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan or whatever, and that's the only time we've ever gotten any look at any of the numbers.
Exactly.
So,
and I'm not happy about that. Dang it. I want more. I'm gonna march down to Disney Plus headquarters on over there and demand some answers. Dang it. Yeah, so I don't know either. Those are good questions, Frank. Those are really good questions, and we're done. Go ahead.
Well, something to just keep in mind is, what the two of you think the state of the Star Wars Union, is it strong right now? Is that something you'll wait? It's a wait and see until you see how Ahsoka ends to kind of think like, but yeah, I feel like because there's certainly a lot of online controversy or turmoil, supposedly, of the inner workings of Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy and all that stuff. So
right. I don't know if it's strong, Frank. I don't know if it is. I think it was
the House divided.
Yeah, House divided. Right. I think that's actually a famous episode of Dallas. It was called A House Divided. Right? That's when JR got shot. I don't. Little side note, folks. What?
Who shot him?
He's wearing a cowboy hat in Dallas. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's crazy.
Who shot JR, James?
He shot JR. He wasn't even born yet. He shot JR. It was crazy. Went back in time and another universe and shot JR. Frank. But no, I don't think I think it was stronger back in the day. And I think now it's a little tarnished a little bit. And I think I know we like Andor and it was critically acclaimed. But again, I don't think a lot of people were liking it or like talking about like they could be. And so I think it's a mixed bag at the moment. I don't think it's dead in the water. And of course they keep mentioning, Acolyte's coming next year and this one's coming next year and Jedi Academy. So I'm like, I think, like I said earlier, and you just said it a second ago, I gotta see how this ends, what the buzz is, what people are saying. Because the next thing is I think it's the beginning of next year. I think it's the next thing. It's Acolyte, right? Or something. Or
yeah.
Which I want to see that. That's what I'm excited about. I want to see Acolyte. I'm very excited about it.
I know Skeleton Crew was another project they were working on too. That I think, I don't know if that's even still happening, but I feel like that was even supposed to tie into some of what's going on here now too, with and like culminating in the movie and everything. So I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. I feel like so many of these plans I feel like are changing, and now because of the strike too, especially. I don't know.
And it's funny because I read the High Republic book series. I have them all sitting here, and I enjoyed them so much. So I enjoyed the books. I'm enjoying the books. I'm enjoying other things. But these series, I turn back on. I really, really want to enjoy them because again, when I was a kid, I'm older than both of you guys. When I was a kid, this was never a thought. It just was never a thought that we'd have. because Star Trek always had TV. It had TV shows. It went into movies. Star Wars started as movies. So to have a TV show, I just never thought it would just never happen. I mean, it never. So I was very excited when I heard about this. I was like, yes, I'm ready. Let's do it. And like I said, it's been a mixed bag so far. There's been some good stuff and some, and so I'm scared because I would love for them to continue. I mean, they feel like they're putting their heart and soul into it on some level. I feel like Dave and John and all of them, they're all really into it. I feel like they really are, and the way they're filmed and stuff, most of the time looks really great. They're getting lots of Emmy nominations and all this stuff for the cinematography and everything, and the way they're creating. I feel like the one thing I didn't say about this show, it does feel Star Warsian to me. It does feel it, just like Andor did. It feels like a Star Wars universe. When they show us all those different scenes and where they land in the sky, it feels like Star Wars. That part I enjoyed that part a lot. I want my Star Wars to feel like Star Wars on some level. So these next ones, I don't know. I don't know, Frank.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I feel like there's still a lot of fertile ground to be mined from the original cast in an animated series. So I would love to see that.
I'd be in. I'd totally be in.
Yeah.
All in. I would.
Some great storytelling like you did on Clone Wars or Rebels, but with those characters, oh, come on now. It would be great.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
I think you would get that audience who was into them would come watch that. At least check out the first episodes. They would come back to at least see what's going on.
Sure. What a way to end this, just on a sour, a fearful note.
Fearful
Note of caution. I feel like Luke and Yoda at the end at that scene in Empire. I'm not afraid. You will be. You will be.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for a very cheery end to this episode of the Ahsoka Aftershow right here in JLG Media. As always, thanks for watching us. Thanks for commenting in the chat. We couldn't do it without your great feedback as well. You guys entertain us with your thoughts, theories, and opinions. So we appreciate that. But if you want to continue the conversation with any of us, even after the show's over, John Dunphy, where can they find you?
Find me at oh my God, I can't even speak. At JDunn89. At JDunn89. There we go. I got it out.
Nice.
Your show.
What if they love talking strategy though?
If you want to talk strategy, you can do that with me over at StratChatPod. That's our that's a podcast that I do with some friends of mine. We talk about reality TV and stuff like that. We're doing Big Brother and the Challenge USA right now. So come hang out with us. Yeah.
Are you going to do Survivor 45?
We'll be talking about we'll be doing Survivor.
You're going to do Amazing Race.
Amazing Race we'll be doing. Yeah. I was just talking to one of my friends from Amazing Race earlier tonight, actually. She was on another show on CBS tonight, but she's in Colombia, so she needed help finding a way to watch it with the VPN. So Michelle from the Amazing Race.
What about Tough as Nails?
Haven't watched that one.
Oh, poor Phil Kogan, man. He's just trying, man. He's just trying.
You're just trying something else. Let me try something else.
And I assume you've already got your DVR set for Buddy Games on PBS, right?
Yeah, John? What is their little tagline? Is like summer starts September 20 something or like whatever. I'm like,
yes.
Yeah, man. Who's the host of that again?
Josh Duhamel.
Right.
Campbell. Oh God, his name Josh Duhamel. Yes, Josh Duhamel. There's no scripted television, kids. There's none.
Yeah.
Coming up. It's all games. It's all fun and games, Frank.
And Quantum Leap. We're gonna get because they filmed before the strike started coming, so we'll get a little of that. Plus Magnum PI, the back 10 episodes of season 5.
Well, they're showing Yellowstone from the beginning. I was like, oh, that's smart, CBS. The huge hit that was our plus. They bring it to CBS. I'm like, yeah, there's no scripted television for kids. There's none.
But if you ever want to see what NCIS
I saw that.
Like,
I saw that today. I was like, what? I'll be watching The Golden Bachelor, so I'll be watching that.
Oh, Man.
I gotta see the old bitches after him. I gotta see it. I'm old. I gotta see it.
Do you realize he didn't make it through that whole series? He passed away, but the ABC hasn't spoiled that yet.
71. I want to see it all.
Oh God.
Nice. James Lott Jr., where can they find you?
Don't find me.
Right.
Hang on, my friend. Please don't find me. We can find where all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms. Thanks to the 12 people who are watching right now. Kirsten, Diane, my sister, Haywood, Leopardess, there's some people in here, a bunch of people in here. And Veda Worship, our buddy Andrew, and others who are not in the chat but are watching. Thank you so much for the like button. Hit that, and thanks for making our show a hit. And me and Frank will be here this Sunday talking General Hospital on our soap blog, so make sure you see us there. And Frank, where can they find you?
Breathe deep, everybody. It's going to be okay in Port Charles. I saw that one guy's tweet last week about the ratings. Like, girl, you in danger.
Yeah, he did. I was laughing so hard. I know, like, oh God.
Find me or not. I'm not the boss of you. I won't force you to do anything. On Twitter or Instagram, at Happy Go Jackie. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel once again we've earned our ranking on one of the top Ahsoka after shows yet again. So by this dazzling performance you just watched or listened to. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here next Wednesday with another episode of the Ahsoka After Show right here